Why do coaches leave their current situations to go to others?
That's a
What do you think?
loaded question. This sounds, Coach, this topic, I think we could go for a long time. This is an interesting one, and I'll let you introduce it. I think that's the flow tonight.
Yeah, I think the flow came because Lane Kiffin left Ole
Mm,
Miss, and a friend of mine that I've coached with since 2009. We were having adult beverages at our favorite place that's our sponsor all the time, and he was
mm,
like, this Lane Kiffin thing and why coaches leave their opportunity to go to other opportunities would be a great topic for the podcast because I was telling him, hey, I need to get you on. I mentioned you the other day. You'd love Zach. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll give you this topic. And he's
mm.
smarter than me. Everybody thinks I'm the genius, but Coach Witt really is the genius of the thing. But yeah, so why do coaches leave their current situations to go to others?
That's a
What do you think?
loaded question.
So, everybody, real quick, I'm youth for the last
Mhm,
30 plus seasons of tackle. Zach is a high school,
mhm,
college football player, and high school
mhm.
coach. So, that's if everybody's wondering where the experience is coming from. And I'm 62 almost, so I have a little wisdom going on here. So, we'll see if that works.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen at the high school level, I have seen a number of different factors. I've seen people be pushed out because they didn't win enough games. I've
Yep.
seen guys leave because they felt there was a better opportunity. That usually means financially, or in the high school realm, it's not always finances because coaches don't make a lot of money at the high school level. Shocker. And
Well, maybe
unless
where
you
you
coach in
are, but here
Georgia,
in Texas, they make some make six figures.
yeah, Texas, Georgia,
Yeah.
those states do it right. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's better players, it's better money, maybe it's closer to family, maybe you just feel like you've run your course. I've been around that. I've done that myself. I just feel like I ran my course at a program. Nothing was wrong. It was just I think this is the best I can make it. So yeah, there's all those different reasons at the high school level.
Yeah, I think at the high school level, I mean, from what I've seen, some friends uh, that talk about it because I've coached with some high school coaches. I knew high school coaches. My mother worked for the school district, so I was friends with a lot of them. I mean, I hear a lot from them, especially my mother's friends, when I was still in high school and college, and I worked for one of them for a long time, and he had a bunch of coach friends. Is they talked about the lack of support and resources
That's part of
here
it.
in Texas. They were making a decent salary as coaches and teachers. They got stipends and like that, but they were really talking about like just all the resources that they thought they wanted to get more, and then really the politics of it, of moving up to the head coach level at the high school or AD, and that career path wasn't there, which I don't really know think about it, but they were all trying to get in to a head coach spot if they weren't the head coach. Half of them hated the current head coaches, which I thought was wild because you would see them around the coaches and they were sucking up to him, but they all wanted to tear his head off, which I
Hmm.
thought was interesting. And so they wanted his job or another head coach job in the district. And then the head coach would want there was so much politics. This is from internal because my mother worked for the school, so I
Hmm.
knew a lot of this. Um, there's a lot of internal politics of what head coach was going to get the AD job. He was retiring and how that was going to work. And so they were upset about, climbing the ladder within there. And then I'm going to have to go outside the school district that I want to leave if I want to climb that ladder. So there was a lot of going on those high school and junior high coaches of that kind of thing going on. Did you see a lot of that? Like, did
Oh,
you did you see this politic thing going on? Because Gemini
absolutely.
said internal politics was a big thing, and I thought that was funny.
I think politics are a necessary part of life, and you have to be able to play the game to some degree, right? I think your personality matters, as it should. You don't want to a psychopath or a jerk to be the head football coach. You need to have some sort of personality, right, to be able to talk to people. But yeah, I mean, there is. It's who you know a lot of times really matters.
Yeah,
And that's what I've found. Yeah.
yeah, well, as I've gotten older, not just in coaching, but just about anything, it really gets down to who you know and the personal, do they like you, impression
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. It really gets down to that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's what I've seen from my experience being around high school coaches. I have not been around a employed college coach, so I can't really
Mm.
talk to that. But we've got some
I,
notes here for
I know a
that.
couple of guys at that level, and it's similar to high school. Uh, the only piece there that changes is if they feel like they can attach themselves, let's say as a position coach or a coordinator, to a head coach that they think will make it Division One and they make a ton of money. I've
Right.
seen that happen. And then I've also seen guys who will leave a program because they want to jump up. They want to go from a position coach to a coordinator, and they're betting on themselves. Now, does that always work out? No, but they at least took the shot and wanted to try to add a responsibility to their resume. They wanted to be an offensive coordinator instead of just the tight ends coach, O-line coach, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, after reading Mike Leach's book and watching a bunch of stuff and how he moved up the chain, I mean, I guess he was sleeping on couches and almost, homeless and not taking salaries for years,
Yes.
learning the
Yes.
craft. And it's almost like, it sounds almost like, and kind of getting off on a tangent here, is like you have to be an entrepreneur your first route into
Hmm.
college or NFL coaching, and you're going to take that startup cost, that opportunity cost, that it's manual labor that you're going to give away for free to start up your career as an entrepreneur coach and then get into those ranks. And my son is doing training, and he's was helping some combine guys here in Dallas. And I was telling him, oh, you need to try to hook yourselves to a couple of guys he met there because, and you may have to do some stuff for free for other and get up and
Hmm.
kind of apprentice, kind of be the apprentice thing. And I think do you see that's how some of these college coaches move up is they're kind of taking it as an entrepreneur apprentice role and
Hmm.
giving their salary away. I mean, that's how you get in.
Yes.
Other than you're the son of somebody or cousin, right?
Yeah, that's a fact. And I was offered a D2 offensive line job twice at the same school. The same guy offered me the job
Right.
numerous years, and I was also offered a NAIA division defensive coordinator job. I turned all of them down because they didn't pay very
They
much.
didn't pay. I was going to ask you, did they just try to get you to do it for free, basically?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a salary, but it was less than I would have made teaching in the state of West Virginia, which isn't a ton
That's
of money.
that's tough.
And would it have been fun? Sure,
Right.
but I had a wife
I
and
was about to
a couple
say you
kids.
probably already had yeah, if you're single, you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, but yeah, you've probably already had the family and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a single guy, sure, I'll give it a shot. But at the same time, if the head coach gets let go, you're gone. I mean, you have to go
Yeah,
find work
that
somewhere
is.
else. And yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point. Why do coaches leave? And we may not be just talking about head coaches, but if the head coach gets fired, the new guy
Hmm.
comes in and pretty much cleans staff,
Hmm.
unless you're just some prodigy or you're really
Hmm.
known for something, right? I mean,
Hmm. In high
everybody
schools, that
brings.
happens too, especially like in Texas.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
happens.
I was about to say, yeah, they do that a lot. That's very common. So let's see. I did a Gemini thing again on AI and went through all this. So yeah, I think you're right. The high school is a pay increase. They're going to
Hmm.
maybe from a 3A to a 5A or a 6A school. So the
Hmm.
recruiting, all those resources and things are better.
Hmm.
Uh,
I'll say this at the high school level too. The budget you're given as a coach is a sign of respect. So if you're given a budget that you feel like you can operate
Money.
with, that's a sign of respect to the coach that we think
Right.
you're doing a good job. We think you can improve our program. But if the opposite happens, like I left a job because I was told you're not getting a budget until March. And we had done things at that school hadn't done in a long time. And I was like, I'm out
Yeah,
because that's a sign of disrespect. Yeah.
yeah, that's a total lack of support there. And I think family issues, and this is what I
Mhm.
thought interesting that, and I see this, and this is sometimes when I think I should have gone to be a coach when I was 30 and popped out of the corporate ladder. Is the parent issue, which is the number one reason youth coaches leave.
Mm-hmm.
But me being a parent of two high school boys that went through programs, and then listening to all the parents in the stands and the lack of support that the parents and the pressure and the administration put on the high school coaches to win, that's gotten overboard. I guess a lot of guys are deciding they don't want that stress anymore.
I think it's harder to find coaches in general these days. I think it's not a
Yeah.
profession that as many people are getting into. So couple that with increased pressure because of social media. As long as it's hard to find coaches, but I think there's still plenty of coaches out there that want to go do the best job they can with the program.
Right. Let's see what else here. Oh, and like you said, they just get fired because they didn't win enough. I think even at the youth level, the high school level, coach level, even though everybody says it doesn't matter about winning at youth, even the leagues don't want people. I think Dave said it, that they don't really want people losing a lot of games. So you got to at least win some things to not get laid off and asked to move on.
I was going to ask you about this. What if you're given a team that is young for that age group? Let's say it's, I don't know, 10U, whatever, and you have a younger team. I don't know, that maybe they don't have a 9U that year or something of that nature, so they put 9U kids on your team. Let's say the youth team I helped coach had 9U kids because there wasn't a 9U team.
Yeah.
So how does that work for you if you're the coach that has that?
Yeah, so I've kind of done 3 teams to kind of help the league out. And the first team that I did that when I came back to Texas from Colorado, the league wanted to put a select team, travel team together from our rec league for the next season. And me and this other coach were going to take that it was going to be an 8U team. So in the rec draft before the select season, we were having the spring, I think a spring season. We went into the 7-8U division. Now those 8U guys that were in that division would be 9U for the fall. So we picked all the 7U kids, which was a total mistake. And my son still hates me today because we did that. We developed the kids and learned a lot. We won, I think, 2 or 3 games. We did get in the playoffs by the skin of our chinny chin chin, and we're fairly competitive in that game, but we did lose it. None of the parents wanted to go with us to select because they thought we weren't great coaches because we were getting pounded by all the 8U teams. Because I mean, when I give the clinic for our rookie coaches, I'm like, when you draft in the draft, you want to look at age kind of quick because even 6 months makes a huge difference in the age categories. So yeah, so we got blasted, and my son was pissed, my wife was pissed, I was upset because the league asked us to do it, and we did it, and that didn't work out. But I'm still close friends with some of the kids. I mean, but yeah, that's a hard deal to do. I mean, it was not a fun thing. So I've done that, and then I've taken 2 teams at the last minute that I didn't draft, for the league.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was really competitive. The other one was named the Aggies, and we did what the Aggies normally do:
Oh, jeez.
is
So,
lay eggs every
oh
week.
my gosh.
But
What?
yeah, it's not fun taking a young team
Mm,
and trying to compete, even with 6-month older kids.
mhm,
Especially because when they're 7, most of those kids haven't played before.
mhm,
The 8 you
mhm.
guys probably have a season.
Right. Yeah, they have some kind of
They
experience.
have some kind of experience, and so that was a difficult thing. So any new coach that is doing that, be aware of the age thing and don't just draft this young group of kids, because it probably won't work out if you're competing with older kids.
That's a fact. So define, what does select mean versus rec? What does that mean?
So a rec group, you usually have minimum plays for each player
Mhm,
that they have to play. Like I think in Arvada it was 8 a game. I think KYA is 10, which has to be, or 14, so it has to be
mhm.
half one half, half the other half. No special team plays count against that. And so that works. And then you're usually within a league system that's closed, so the kids come into the league, they register with the league, and then there's a draft within the league, or they assign you the kids to the team within that league.
Mhm.
So that's usually how that works. Now, a select team is usually it's a private coach who signs
Hmm.
up for a select league, and then he goes out and recruits all the players to his team, and he runs that team sort of as an independent company. And then the league schedules games with other select teams, and so you're able to choose and have tryouts, like real tryouts,
Oh,
of
okay.
how the players, like full pad tryouts, like in our rec league, it's just a sprint and some bags and a tackle bag kind of thing. But
Mhm.
like in a select, you hold, like, 3 or 4 tryouts
Oh,
where
geez.
there's hitting and there's full pads, and you're going through 3 or 4, skilled
Mhm.
players and linemen, and then you cut people.
Oh, wow.
So in
Geez.
rec,
Yeah,
there's no cutting. We're
man.
assigned
Right.
15 or 20 kids, and then that's what you got.
Mhm.
And select, every year you can, get rid of kids, bring new kids in, and try kids out and that kind of thing. And so
Mm.
that's the big difference. And then there's travel teams that are, instead of playing locally, that rec team will travel. And usually you have a lot of local select teams, and then the travel teams will pull kids from those select teams that their parents can pay money, because it costs money to
Mm.
travel to Florida or
Mhm.
wherever to have these other big tournaments. I don't like the tournament travel teams, because
Mhm.
sometimes they go to these tournaments where they're playing 4 to 5 tackle games in a weekend.
Mm.
And I don't understand. There's a couple of things I don't understand about that. Is one, with all the concussion, head injury kind of stuff, why are you doing that so much?
Mhm.
And then the other thing that I see on TikTok a lot, especially these camps that the kids go to, both at youth and high school, is they'll do full hitting, like in just shorts and shirts and a helmet. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's a couple of videos with kids that are blocking, and a DN will make his move and go around, touch the bag. And I'm like, well, I'd have cut your butt in full pads, and you would be laying on your butt, your ass.
Right,
Sorry, I'm
right.
going to use this
I like that.
this fiery language, because I'm like, and you'll see in the comments, a couple other guys, older guys, are like, we'd have cut you as soon as you started getting, my helmet would have been in your kneecap, at this
Right.
point. And it's like, okay, but I don't understand why they're doing kind of
Mhm.
full pad stuff with, and sometimes they don't even have a helmet. So I don't
Yeah.
even, have you seen this? Does that bother you too?
That it does that whole camp scene to me
It's
is
like
a racket.
WWE. Why am I doing that?
Yeah, it's a racket unless, and I've told every high school player I've coached this, don't go to them unless there is a college coach present, preferably more than one, right?
That's a
You need
good, yeah,
colleges there. If you're going there and it's just some showcase for guys to put videos on TikTok, don't go to it. It's a waste
yeah,
of your time and money. And you could get hurt because you see stuff like you're talking about. This, like,
yeah,
what is going on? This is full MMA. It's not even
yeah,
football anymore. Yeah.
yeah. I don't get it. I mean, it makes good TikTok videos, I guess, but people like me are looking at that and going,
Mm.
well, as soon as it's like 7-on-7, as soon as I get pads on, all of this changes.
Oh, don't get me started on 7-on-7 leagues. I think that is those people are mercenaries who have 7-on-7 teams. And that's a strong statement, I know, but it's true because 7-on-7 isn't even close to football, and they're pumping these kids full of false promises, and it doesn't
So,
help them play real
so
football.
7-on-7, what you're talking about is like select because they're selecting those kids.
Right.
So
They're selecting
that
those kids.
same type of thing is going on with select. And there's some coaches that are good. Like I played for one that was great, and I know one here in town that I've coached with before is great. But some of those guys are just way off, and it's gotten
Yeah.
worse. It just gets worse and worse because they have to oversell it because they
Right.
need the money to buy all the equipment because they're not within a league that has all the equipment. And then some of the kids can't afford the league fees. And so they're having to get some of the rich kids to pay more so they can get 4 or 5 kids that wouldn't pay and they can scholarship them in.
Mm.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going around that. And I hate to see it. And what's funny, I mean, we're off on a tangent now,
I
but
love it. Let's go.
I guess what's funny is in our rec league, Coach Witt and I, we win a lot of games, and uh, it seemed like every time, it's like every 4 years, some of the coaches there were like, "Oh, we're gonna go and take our team select," and guess who the coaches that leave to go do the select teams are? The coaches that are losing.
That's right. That's right. I was about to say that. I don't want to guess wrong.
You didn't want to get no. It is like so. It's like, oh my gosh. I have an example. I have some examples, but I don't want to say. But
I think this
yeah,
definitely ties in though to what we were talking about because it's why our coach is moving on, right? So if you're an organization and that happens, maybe you look for a different organization. At the high school level, the 7-on-7 thing has become a reason why coaches will be like, I'm not coming back because you'll have kids in your team who have said, well, we want a championship in 7-on-7, but then the team goes 3-7, and the parents are like, why can't you win? Those kids won the 7-on-7 championship, and you're going, that's not football. That's not real football,
Yeah, I mean, if you're a quarterback or receiver or a DB, and you want to get some reps and stay in shape, it's better than basketball because
for sure, 100%. Yes.
It's giving you something there, especially for quarterback. I think it's built for quarterbacks, really. I mean, if you're going to coach 7-on-7, you better be a quarterback kind of minded coach offensively,
right.
because it really is tailored to that. I don't like it because I'm a defensive minded guy. I like to hit. I like the violence of football. My youngest son and oldest sons both told me, well, that receiver wouldn't catch that ball because he'd have been lit.
Right. Absolutely.
So
yes,
they didn't like it either. So, you really have to be into, usually it's a dad who has a bunch of, my sons played quarterback, but I wasn't their quarterback coach. It's usually a dad who's a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator guy that wants to start those 7-on-7 teams and do that. But yeah, it's not, it's like flag. It's not tackle. They're totally, youth is not high school. 7-on-7 flag or not tackle. in 7-on-7, they let you get away with goofy, some formations kind of
Mhm.
thing. And so, yeah, it's all different.
Yeah, it is for sure. And so you as a expert youth coach, that's how I classify you, my brain coach. What
Okay.
makes you want to take a different role? What makes you want to take a different job, like somewhere else, different league, different age group? What makes you want to move?
Uh, well, what made me move the last several years has been the parents.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Just the whole parent thing has gotten the helicopter involvement since I started coaching in 94. It's like every 5 years, there's a new crop of parents that come in, and each year it has gotten worse. And you'll talk, and even in my forums, us
mm,
older coaches that have coached, 30 plus seasons since the 90s have seen this staggering increase of involvement that is just so over the top
mm-hmm,
that Coach Witt had decided this year too that uh, that was it.
mm-hmm,
Because I've kind of helped him the last 2 years. I haven't been like co-head coach and gotten
mm-hmm,
involved. I've done little things just to stay involved. But he decided he had a couple of parents that were on those teams that just were too over the top. And even him, who was so nice, he's like my wife. He's very calming person, very
mm-hmm,
nice, great Christian man. And he just decided it just wasn't worth it anymore. So he and I both, it was the parents was just too much. And then the other big one is since I didn't have kids on the team anymore,
mm,
the parent politics were too great for me to stay since my kids had already graduated. So it was easy for me to go. And that's why a lot of youth coaches kind of don't
mm,
return as their kid graduated. And I also felt guilty that I was taking a spot of a dad who wanted to coach. And so I've kind of decided, and I've enjoyed doing this podcast with you and some other things,
yeah,
that it's like, hey, I can still be involved.
mm-hmm,
And so there's this other opportunities now. And so
mm,
that's what's going on for me is parents. Uh, my I don't coach my kids anymore. They're 24 and 27, and uh, I'm doing other things that involve football. And so I think a
mm,
lot of guys do that. I know I had to leave in Denver because I had to move to Fort Worth for family. So
mm-hmm,
youth coaches, that happens to them. And I think a lot of youth coaches, when they get involved, so listen up, guys, that if you're just starting to get involved in youth, they don't
mm,
understand the time commitment that it really takes to win
mm-hmm,
as a youth coach. Now,
mm-hmm,
everybody can go coach. If you want to coach a rec team and flag and not really care so much, that's one thing. But if you're, the league in Texas, it's crazy, guys. It's, football rec or whatever, it's crazy. It doesn't
mm-hmm,
matter. So, as a head coach, as a youth coach, you're probably putting in at least 35 to 60 hours a week during the season. And you
mm-hmm,
guys are probably that don't do it are probably going, no way, Yahweh.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You're putting in the time if you're committed to developing your kids and being a competitive team. You're just having to do that much time. And so there's a work life balance, both with your family. Then is your boss and is your job going to allow you to take that much time? And so you will see a lot of the good coaches are entrepreneurs,
mm-hmm,
or they have, like Coach Witt's job allowed him to do charity work and things. And so that fit within that realm.
mm-hmm.
So those are some things there that are going on. And then
Mm.
other coaches, the league will ask them to leave because they're drinking or they are
Mm.
losing or they're smoking in front of the kids, kind of like what the Bad News Bears coach, Walter Matthau.
Oh my gosh. I mean, smoking cigarettes used to be socially acceptable, but not so much these days.
No,
I don't think you can
no.
do
I
that
mean, I've
anymore.
seen coaches smoke on the field, or a lot of coaches in Texas chew
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
back in my youth, so they were doing a lot of chew. But that's kind of the youth thing. I think I got
Mhm.
all of those down.
You did.
Select
That was
feed.
excellent.
Yeah, some of that happened. So have we left
Mm.
anything off? I mean, I think we've hit high school and college pretty. I
Yeah.
mean, high school pretty hard, except for let's see. Yeah, I think. I mean, the other thing, I guess, and I think you said it about the budget is like some coaches are looking for facilities that are a little bit better, like a better weight room, a
Mhm.
better field, better grass or turf kind of things.
Mhm.
Are you seeing that? Or I know that's a
Well,
big thing here in Texas. Everybody's going to turf now.
yeah. Now that more people have turf, I don't think it's as big of a deal. I remember when I first started, most people were grass, especially in Florida. I was coaching in Florida, and that was a big deal. So if you didn't have a good practice facility, you had to spend a lot of time maintaining it. That could be a drawback to coaching there. And one place I coached, we didn't have a home field, and we practiced on a church league softball outfield. And I mean, that was fine. It was my first job as a defensive coordinator, but that gets old after a while, right? You're having to lug your stuff from the school to the practice field. You don't have a home field. So yeah, I mean, facilities do play a role in that, especially in a profession where, especially in Florida, they don't pay people very well to be a football coach. So having nice facilities is something that can definitely draw people to a school.
Yeah. So this is a good question I wanted to ask you because I'm very I have a very standard answer on this. Do you like to play on turf or grass, long or short grass?
I think professionally cut, well maintained Bermuda grass is the best thing in the world to play football on.
Yeah.
I think turf's a close second, but really well maintained grass is number one, not even close.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm playing a speedy team, I want to be on grass for sure, especially grass that hasn't been
Oh,
mowed.
let it
Uh,
grow too, man. Don't cut
yeah,
that
let
thing.
that grass grow. I remember our high school stadium we played on that. You just sink into that stuff, and it's like, oh
Mhm.
my god, I'm so slow in this. But yeah, you're right. That well maintained Bermuda is so nice to
Oh
play
my
on.
gosh.
I don't like turf. I think there's a lot of injuries that is occurring for that. I definitely prefer either high or low grass, but
Mhm.
that's my definite preference for there.
I
Plus,
think
that's what
as
football was made for, right?
I agree, and I think the reason turf has become so prevalent is because the upfront cost is a lot, but there's really no upkeep. I mean, you have
Yeah, I
to
mean,
replace it in a decade, but just charge extra for your tickets, and there you go.
yeah, here in Dallas, I think because of the heat, they started building indoor facilities with AC, with turf, and that's like a
Mm,
big thing that's occurring here.
mhm.
So yeah, so that
Indoor
sorry that
facilities
was
at high school? In the high
oh
school level
dude,
indoor
they're all
facilities? Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
every high school in our district now has an indoor facility with AC
Man.
because it'll get up to 105 in the afternoon. And so once it gets
Mhm,
over 102 and there's a heat index or something,
mhm,
they have to cut practice. So in August sometimes you won't be able to practice
mhm.
in
Or you
the
can go in the
afternoon.
morning
Yeah,
or
they go in the
late at
morning, and
night.
even then it's sometimes I guess the coaches were like, this isn't
Mhm,
really happening now. I
mhm.
had another question on grass or whatever, but I have misplaced it somewhere in my
That's no
notes.
worries.
I've
Well, your
misplaced.
notes are so you have such great
Oh
notes,
no,
and
I misplaced
it's
it in
really
here.
good.
I'm blaming
Oh,
it on the
stop.
notes.
Oh, it's funny.
No, it was about grass. But yeah, I think we've hit that. So let's get to this Lane Kiffin college. Why
Lane
do these
Kiffin.
guys? And I will preface, I have never had to make a decision for 9 million to 15 million. So that I will just preface that I am sure my reality would change. So I do want to say there may be some bias because
Mhm,
I have never had to make anything over from myself a $2 million decision on
right.
kind of business or personal. I've kind of dealt with a million, but So once you get into this 10 million and over, have you had to deal with that? Your dad might have, I guess, as a pro player.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I personally have
Storm did,
not dealt
yes.
with that. So we may be biased, or I may be biased in my answer.
Yeah, I think from listening to Coach Kiffin talk, he thought he could win a national championship, or he thinks he could win a national championship at LSU. And he doesn't think he could win a national championship at Ole Miss, because I don't know that the money for him necessarily is a huge deal, because he's very wealthy. But I think he thought he could win a national championship. And I think that's his driving factor at the moment. What's your take on that?
Well, that's it's really interesting. I'm torn between this, maybe because I'm such a loyal and moral, ethical, but like I said, I haven't had to deal with the $10 million to $15 million jump in salary. I just felt like he was building that program at Ole Miss, and it was going so well, and they were ranked so high, and it's like, if he stays, does he make that program LSU? But I think there was some other factors that are going on, which have to do with the alum money, the LSU facilities, the whole economics of long term. He might have hit Ole Miss once, but he feels like LSU is going to give him long term consistency to be able to do that. Alum money, recruiting, all of that other good stuff. And, he's happy to get the extra money, right?
Yeah, I think LSU is traditionally a better program. There's better recruits in state.
Right.
I was thinking back to Lane Kiffin did a podcast with Theo Vaughn. I think it was this summer. And he talked about being at LSU, how much he loved being at LSU. How much he loved being at Ole Miss. And I don't know. I think he was very conflicted. Watching him speak, it was, hey, I like it here, but I don't think this isn't sustainable, like you were saying. Like, maybe they've maxed it out this year. They won't be as good next year, and it's harder to be good at Ole Miss than it is at LSU. So, yeah, I understand his decision.
Yeah, I mean, and because of the NIL and alumni monies, the players are going to go to LSU. I think Coach Witt and I were talking about this, where it's kind of like Texas and Texas A&M. Like, where would you as a player go from out of state if you had to pick those two teams? I know what my answer would be if I didn't really know them that well. I mean, what would be your answer? Where are you going?
I mean, you're probably talking hook 'em horns there.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I mean, right. Yeah. And so you look at it from Ole Miss and LSU. Where are those players going for NIL money and alumni money? I mean, they're thinking LSU, and LSU has a history of doing very well. I mean, they beat A&M. I don't know how many times that I hate LSU so bad. So there's that whole thing. It just, for me, for Lane Kiffin specifically, I did the AI thing again. I'm such a geek, but he's been at 7 big jobs.
Yeah.
3 of those he was fired from. And so as LSU, I mean, you got to look. So there's this thing, because he's kind of like, what's that movie? 4 Weddings or whatever, or Runaway Bride or whatever. He's kind of like a runaway coach, right? He's really quick to get in, does what he does, and then he kind of jumps. I mean, I think Tennessee's still pissed off at him because he was only there a year. I remember when the U.S. thing where he got blown out, I was thinking his dream job, did he just want to go and he kind of let that thing happen? Or I don't know. I mean, it just seems like he has this reputation that I'm going to go. So LSU's dumped a lot of money down on him. Hopefully they have a clause in there. Look, you're here for however long, and you said USC was your dream job, and they fired his butt on the tarmac. So I mean, I'm like,
Right.
What do I think about that? But I'm sure he's pretty wealthy, right? I mean, I guess people think he's a guru because people keep hiring him and giving him a bunch of money.
Yeah, I think Nick Saban, and he'll say, I think he said this. Nick Saban saved his career after
Right. And then
USC.
fired him
Well, they fired him because
because
he
he was doing kind of what he was doing with LSU, right?
right. He was going to be the head coach at what, FAU back
FAU,
then, but he
right?
still
Yeah.
wanted to be the OC. And Saban said, "Nah, you have to go do
Yeah,
the FAU
I
thing because
remember
you got to
that.
give you." I mean, I understand it. It was Alabama was going to play for a national championship. I understand that. Nick Saban was going to make the best decision for his football program, which is what every head coach should do.
Which is what Ole Miss did to him on this playoff thing too.
The more I read about it, the more I thought Ole Miss made the right decision. You can't
Yeah,
have the head coach at LSU in this era with the portal coaching your guys. That's a bad idea.
Well, I mean, there are, and especially if he won the national championship, that whole team's going to LSU, right? I mean,
Right, they're all
and
going
he
with him.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going with him, coaches and everybody. See, I don't get mad at Ole Miss for doing that. I think it's bad for the team, but I think Lane is a good example of why good college coaches would make a move. And it's interesting to then relate that to Saban. Why did he make his move? Because he left.
Yeah,
He just left.
He wanted to go to the NFL.
He just left. And you think he wanted to go to the NFL?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Saban from LSU. Saban went from LSU.
No, I mean
to NFL
when he left Alabama. I mean he left because of NIL and the change. The players had changed. He just decided he didn't want that stress. He wanted that work-life balance, which it kind of intertwines between youth, high school. They're all kind of similar, except for maybe the money, right? The salaries kind of things are higher. But it looks like if you look at the lists, they're all kind of close, actually, about how they would come together. But yeah,
I agree.
So
yeah, I think it's a new era for especially college coaches. I think high school is similar as it's always been. I think the NFL is similar, but college is its own thing with NIL and the transfer portal, and they got to get some reins on. They got to put some guardrails on that thing because coaches are quitting that shouldn't be quitting.
Well, yeah, and I think the Lane Kiffin situation brings up what Saban has talked about, moving the calendar around. So you really, like the NFL, you can't talk to the coaches during the season to recruit them to your team because it's hurting the players on that team. And I think the same thing with the portal. There's this, I was just reading in this research that I guess they start recruiting high school players like next month when the bowl games are going on.
Oh yeah.
So you're trying to get that coach in now so he can recruit. If he waits till after the bowl games, the big recruits are already assigned to other colleges, and so you lose out. So that whole thing, I kind of understand why Lane did it now because you're trying to get that recruiting piece, but I think there's a whole calendar issue that it sounds like that needs to be dealt with along with professional contracts and leaving and not leaving and all of that kind of wound in together for the players.
It's almost the opposite of high school. So in high school, if you take a new job, you're going to probably have to finish the year where you are,
right?
Which means it's probably a couple, 2, 3, 4 months, and then you end up on campus. Probably. Yeah, so you have to get somebody to run the off-season program for you until you get there. So it's very different at the high school level because you have to finish the job that you're at before you can go take on the new opportunity.
Right. Yeah. So that portal thing. What do you? I think on the solving. I think this recruiting issue, portal issue, player issue. I think to me, the NCAA is going to have to suck up and say, we're a professional organization. We're going to have contracts. We're going to go this route. What do you think about that? Do you think that's just going to have to happen soon?
Yeah, I think you have to go to an NFL type model. I
Yeah.
don't know that there's any other answer to that. I think you have to become like the NFL and adopt a lot of their same rules and policies, and it just goes from there. It becomes a minor league football system for the NFL, basically. I mean, that's what I see it as these days, especially the high level, not the Division II, Division III, NAIA, but the group of 4. That's what they are. Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. That's what, and I think Saban has talked about it. Gruden had been talking about it here the other day, but yeah, I see it. You know, in the 40s and 50s and 30s, college football was dominant over the NFL and professional football, and so I see that coming back. And you could almost see, because with red shirt and some transfers, some of these guys could have 6 and 7 year careers in college
at like 5 different schools.
Yeah, so they could actually have, because what what is the average NFL career is, like 4.5 years or something.
Yeah, it's not very long.
It's not very long, and so I know I was arguing with Gemini AI about, college sports could actually become a competitive alternative to the NFL, because those careers are basically 6 years to 7 years is a NFL career. And so that would be interesting too. They still could graduate and go on, but I think you could not be this feeder system if you decided, hey, we want to make it a little bit better, especially now that you're, competing with monies and everything.
Yeah,
what do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I mean, guys are playing now longer than ever at the collegiate level. I mean, you're getting the 4-year, 5-year guys. Shoot, there's been some 6-year guys because of injuries. And then some of those guys are making more money at the collegiate level than they would in the NFL. And some of those guys are making millions of dollars at the collegiate level, and they won't even get drafted.
Yeah, I think Sanders
is really wild.
More money than his 6th-round pick contract or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm sure that's a fact. It's just wild the times we're living in.
Yeah. So do you think, I mean, would you have been a professional athlete at the college level? I mean, what
Oh, I would love to get paid. Come on now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've thought they should have been, I've always thought they should have been paid. I had a couple of friends that played for the Aggies when I was there, and I saw the amount of work that they were doing, and one of them got hurt. And, I think they should be paid. And I think they should have been paid a long time ago. So even more so than just the NIL money. I mean, the amount of money that the football programs generate for the universities at these big schools is an ungodly amount off the jerseys and numbers and everything there. So I think there's something there to be said about it. And that'll definitely change the whole environment of amateur athletics around football.
I agree 100%. And it has, and it will, and you just got to adapt and survive and move on to the next challenge.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about it? Leave us some comments. If we hit this enough, I think we're running out of time here. I think we had another thing we were going to talk about, which is another great subject. That's kind of timely, and I guess we'll try to hit that later this week or next week, which is the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I think that'll be good next week. This middle of this week, I think. Middle of this week, we'll try to get our schedules figured out.
Because there's 4 or 5 teams that are really upset, and there's some good teams in there. A&M's in there. I'm not too sure if they're that good, but it's interesting what the University of Indiana's done.
Oh, that's something that I think on our next pod I'm going to talk about, because I love Coach Cignetti. I think what he's done there is amazing.
And I hate Tech, the Red Raiders, but they're at number 4, which is a total surprise to me. And that linebacker won the Butkus Award. So that'll be an interesting team, and we can chat about that going next week or Wednesday when we chat.
Absolutely.
So leave us
Yeah,
some
go for it.
comments. Did we interest you in what we were talking about? I mean, what do you think? College sports, is it going professional? What do you think about Lane Kiffin? We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, it's always good to see you. And
Great to see you, Zach.
man, this is always a good time. And winning is more fun, right? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, play for fun and winning is definitely funner at every level.